This is all about Hill Area Development Program, which is shortly known as HADP, on pilot basis in Taiwan District. The Composite District Infrastructure Index 2019 that prepared by the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Regions for 80 districts of the northeastern states had brought out the stark difference between the infrastructure indicate of valley areas and compared to the hill district in the state of like the Manipur, Assam and Tripura where the topography consists of both hills and valley. Tamenglong's district was ranked 75 out of 80 districts on northeastern regions in composite districts of index transportation in 2019. The Hill Areas Development Program (HADP) that formulated in the fifth five-year plan to supplement the effort of state government in the development of some hill areas was implemented by the East while that planning that commission is in two hills a district of Assam North Kashmir now Dima Hashau and Karbi Anglong. The said SIMS was discontinued WS the 2015 to 16 onward. Area Development Program HADP in northeastern regions in the mandated of MOU that donor as for the allocations of business rules in 1961. In a meeting of chief secretaries and planning of secretaries of the northeastern regions held on 13th May 2017, it was felt that NUCMs may be formulated for the development of hill areas and backward district to take care of district with the lower indicators of development. Give the need to take up that infrastructure development and program in hilly areas based upon the topographical need based budgeting that the Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur in his letter date 26th May 2017 addressed to Honorable Prime Minister of India that had requested to restart the hill area development program in the states like the Manipur, Assam and the Tripura where the topography consists of both hills and valley. According to hill area development program, proposed to the implementation to the Tamenglong district, including the Moni, revised the district delineations of Manipur pilot vessel for a period of 2 years, 2018 to 19 and 2019 to 20. Objective of Hill Area Development Program pilots. A pilot seems aims for a holistic and including the development of the hill district of Tamenglong, including Noni. It strives to strengthen the state effort in addressing the physical and social infrastructure gaps and providing the technology driven that enabling the ecosystem for delivery of public services. It will harness the potential of identification locations natural and effort to the improvement that productions and the value additions for the enhancement of income of local population. The component of the pilot hill area development program will be as the follows: physical infrastructure such as village, multi-purpose community structures, water supply, etc., not covered by any other schemes that can be completed in 2 years. Also, upgradations of routes or days which would link that major production centers and tourism sites and the health facilities and upgradations of sport grounds are leveraging technology to take the health and educations in remote areas of Tamil's upgrading the teacher skills in the intensive and child-friendly tools that provide the learning outcomes and especially in science and maths are preferable with the help of organizations with the demonstration and capacities to drive the rapid transformations in their respective sectors. A list of such the organizations collected by Niti Aayog is a annexure one. Setting up technological facilities center that TFC in Tamenglong, unleashing the potential of the natural resources like the cane, bamboo, orange, medicine, herbs, special including the herb species, etc. and the strategy that the resourceful value chain and imbalance that suits and the orange based on values added and produced. Infrastructure creating and promoting of ecotourism. Formation and the mobilizations of livelihood groups on the lines of northeastern regions and community resources management project that any RCORMP and Northeast Rural Livelihood Project that NERLP. The same would strives to build and the involve the community-based infrastructure for this purpose. The local established that institutions may be identified and may the internet through the proper orientation and training. Duration of Hill Area Development Project in pilot. The pilot will be the implementation in Tamenglong district, including the Nuni. Prepared the district delineations of Manipur for a period of 2 years, 2018 to 19 and 2019 to 20, at an estimated cost of 90 crores. Baseline scenarios and outcomes. The expected outcomes from the proposed hill area development programs that are flush, enhancing the livelihood which can be captured by an increase in the economic of people, increase in the productions and value addition of key natural resources like the camp, bamboo, orange, etc. Improvement in the class appropriate learning attentions in school or the improvement in the pass a percentage which is established through independent assessment and third party evaluations. Improvement in the healthcare outcomes, increased tourist footfalls, enhancement of physical and the social infrastructure. It may be captured by the increased mobility and improves the governance. On commencement of district administrations may prepare a suitable baseline scenario. It may be required to provide the necessary information on the relevant output and the outcome indicators. State level sanctions committee. Age. A state level sanctions committee SLSC headed by the chief secretary on the state will be notified with the authority to sanction the special project recommended by the district level committee and under the each vertical in periodic meeting that attended by the representations of FAMO that donors. The SLSC will be the compared at status levels and head of the identifier that vertical secretaries of horticulture, education, health, forest, tourism, and the public health, engineering, the uh, department, etc. Along with the finance and secretary, that planning secretary may be the members of secretary of the committee. District level committee. A district level committee will be the form to be headed by the deputy commissioner of the Tamenglong district with the project direct and district rural development agency as member secretary and would consist of district forest officer and executive engineering public works department and executive engineering public health engineering department and chief medical officers subdivision officers block development officers and all of subject division subdivision zonal education officer district officers agriculture and horticulture chief executive officer autonomous district councils and this committee will be the responsible for the formulating the DPRS of various projects to the undertaken in the district and will be the responsible to oversee the implementations of the same project formulation and the identification. The shelf of project under the various component of the SIMS that preferably all the components will be covered and the designated agency for the executive of projects will be identified that the finalized by the SLSC based on the recommendations of the district level committee. The guidelines principles for the identifications will be as under that normally the cost of the project will not be the more than 10,000 crores. So the cost indicated in the concept of paper and the project will be the based on latest schedule of rates. The cost towards the land acquisitions and staff component will be the inadmissible under the SIMS and the cost of the maintenance of all those assets created under the SIMS will be made by the state government. 25% of project will be the remarked in such a way so that women and children budgeting is ensuring the project will be at single locations with the detailed and long information. 2% of the total outlay of the CMs that toward the including that expending that the including payment to the consultant that NGOs will be the applicable. The list of self project and identifications of their SLSC Their concept note will be the blessed and before a project identification committee called HADP committee, chairs of secretary, donors and the co-chairs by the chief secretary of Manipur. The membership of the committee will be the as follows that secretary minister of road transport and highway or his her representative not the below the rank of joining secretary. Secretary department of rural development or the his her representative not below the rank of joint that secretary. Secretary Minister of Drinking Water and the Sanitations of or his her representation or the below the rank of Joint Secretary. Secretary Ministry of Electronics and the Information Technology or the his her representation or below the rank of Joint that Secretary. Secretary Minister of Food Processing Industries or his her representative to the below and Secretary of Department of Agriculture and the Health and Family Welfare and Ministry of Human Resources Development, that Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Culture, Department of Sports, Northeastern Councils, and the Ministry of Donors, etc. HATP committee would meet at least once a quarters. The chairman may invite the representatives from the state government of Manipur to the meeting agenda when the necessary for which the TADA will be the won by the concerned state government. The HDP committee will be the discuss the list of projects that submitted by the SLSC with the representative of concerns and the Live Ministry of Government of India and will be the make suitable recommendations for the finding of identification project and it will also be oversees the implementations of hill area development project. The recommendations of HADP committee will be submitted to be the Minister of Changes and Donors for the in principle of the project and before the communications and them to be the state government. The state government will be the prepared and detailed project and report to the DSPS of the identified that project communicated to the no changes in the scope of the project in the DRV. Again, what was the proposed in the concept buffer and will be the admissible. The state government may cooperate or reputed state level institutions such as the National Institute of Technology, Central Agriculture University for the technological facility of the details and project report and providing it the recommendations of SLSC will also be responsible for the proper implementation and the monitoring of each project sanctioned by it. Adequate coverage of government may be ensured. The SLSC and recommendations for the sanctions and non-sanctions of projects must be accompanied with all the regulatory and the statutory of clearance and like the forestry and environment land acquisitions and non-duplication of certificate availability of stone quarry etc. Whereas the publications alone applicable that process of report implementation of project and the disposal funds that sanctions of project for the implementation that after approval of honorable ministers in charge of donors the project will be the sanctioned by the insurance of administrative and the financial sanctions of the project and release on the token amount of Rs 10 lakhs in consultations with IFD. Work shall be awarded within the 3 months of issues of the sanctions by the ministry and the copy of the work orderly and entered of the Minister of Donors and release of the balance and amount of the 40% of the project and cost in consultations with the integrated and finance and divisions. After work and allocations, no work shall be undertaken by the designated and agencies before the issues of administrative approval and the financial sanctions by the Ministry of Donor. No executions of central agreement or the award of the worker should be done and before the sanctions of the project. Any work done and prior to be the sanction of the project will not be funded by the ministry. A district administrative state government will be awarded the central after the fulfillment of all the codal formalities in a transparent manner. The trans devices and the contract may be the indicate the binding the clause for the incentive to be the constructor for easy computations and the final provisions for the delay. Disbursement of funds. Science. This is the time bound fund and would be allocated only to Tamenglong district, including the Noni. The phase of project implementation is crucial. The working search is also the very short in the district according to the state government may be ensured that the funds are transformed to the district and administrations that account within 15 days of the release of the funds. The funds will be released to the designated agencies and through the treasures of the state government as for the special dispensations and according to by the Ministry of Finance. The state government will be the install that PFMS that portal at the state level and link their stages to be the PFMS portal of Ministry of Donors for the tracking of funds and release the under the SIMS. The funds will be the released by the Ministry of Donors into the installment of 40% and 60% for the sanctioned project. It may be noted that the release of first 10 lakhs as the token amount in part of the first installment. Second installment of the project will be the released by the Ministry of Donors and once the deputy commissions of the district through the government of Manipur mandatorily submitted that utilization certificate for the 80% of the first installment released and the consumer that the physical process that 40% of the total due to the sign by the head of the designated agency and the contributions of by the planning secretary of government of Manipur that requested for the release of the subsequently installment of funds and submitted by the state must be accompanied with utilization certificate for 80% of first installment release and the quarterly progress report and photographs of the works completed that inspections of report of nodal officer and cost overrun that offer and above the approved and sanctions cost in any project due to the delay in the implementations or any other reasons has to be met by the state after completions of the project. A completions of certificate along with the utilization certificate of the total fund release will be the submitted by the designated agency through the government of Manipur. Monitorings of and evaluations. The state government will be put in a place and reviews that monitoring that mechanisms for the proper executions of the project and sanction under the SIMS. The mechanisms will be preferred by the consumer of officially, not directly that concerns with the executive of a particular project. The state government will carry out the periodic inspections for as faster executions of the project and their timely completions. The designated agency of the state government will be nominated a nodal officials for each project to complete them as per the schedule. The designated agency will be published the project in the local area. The state government will be encourage the use of the modern technical tools of information technology and space the technology for the monitoring project monitoring and evaluations of implementations of the project will also be undertaken by the Ministry of Donors and through periodic meetings and field inspections at the implementation sites as well as through the impact of studies and social studies and the evaluations conducted by the government of or the through uh, independent agencies on the request of the ministry or by using the space technology like go tagging and etc for the monitoring of project. Relaxations of modification. Relaxation or modifications in any of the clause of the proposed guidelines of the HADV below SHIM will be the made with the approval of Honorable Minister in charge, that Minister Donor, that modifications and relaxations are proposed by the state government and will be the recommended by the SLSC under the broader frameworks of the same. That's all. Thank you. You may tolerate or